What is up, my MMA true believers? This is Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I am joined by a man who is going for his fourth straight win in the UFC, fifth overall on Saturday on Fight Island. And that man taking on short notice opponent Ilia Topuria is the Moroccan devil himself, Youssef Zalal. Mr. Devil, sir, thanks so much for the time to talk your Octagon return.
No, of course. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it.
Now, you have been in the sport for just over 5 years, a pro for 3 of those years, as far as I know. Yet you are looking to move to 4-0 in the UFC. All fights were in 2020, and just a few weeks removed from your 24th birthday. Happy belated birthday to you. But has all of this stuff, has it fully sunk in yet how successful you've been in such a short time? Like, what a nuts year 2020 has been away from the pandemic, just in your career. Is it just kind of a blur at this point, how it's been so good so fast?
Oh man, it's like crazy. It's like a movie. I'm living in a movie right now. It's like started like I told everybody out like last year looking for a fight. I lost 2 fights and stuff like that. So for me, it was very hard to even think about where I'm gonna be at, or where I'm going to be at, But you have your coaches and the team, my management, and all that stuff. They kind of just keep you going, and be like, you're a talented kid. We'll be back and stuff like that, and kind of keep us on the right track, and they know what they're doing, So my job was I just had to follow, and really just listen what they want me to do and stuff like that, and it works, man. But like I said, I'm living a fun movie right now. It's an interesting movie, I'll tell you that.
Now you are actually going for a fifth straight, like I mentioned, the opening on Saturday. Before this streak, though, you had lost 2 straight, the only losses of your career so far. How important were those 2 failures in maybe altering your fight style, maybe just your mentality on the sport, how you approach a fight camp? How big were those losses in going into now these 5 straight wins, or going for a fifth straight win?
Oh, it was the blessings in the skies, as I call it. It's the greatest lessons I learned. It's like there's some things you don't want to do in a camp, and I did in those 2 camps, and I learned from those 2 camps. You don't have a lot of freedom. It's like you gotta be dialed in for this sport and really take everything to the maximum. It's like a lot of guys will kind of half-ass it and stuff like that. This is not the sport to do it. It will show in the cage and stuff like that. So for me, I'm very happy to had those 2 lessons before I even got to the UFC, and it really did help me a lot to just go in there and kind of like almost like used to it. I walked in there and I was like, this is just another day. I was like, this is fun, and me having fun is it's the most dangerous guy.
Were there any specific things, like you mentioned, that happened in those training camps, in those fights? Was it like just because you're still such a young guy, and you were even younger then? Was it just inexperienced mistakes? Was it you had to just get more dedicated than you were, which is completely normal for someone so young? Were there specific things like, yeah, I can't do that shit anymore, I fucked up?
No, yeah, like you said, man, it's being young and dumb. It's like you
We all
think,
have.
yeah, you think you know it all. You think you know the sports, and not really listening to the coaches or anything. Kind of it changes the game. Like the coaches are there for a reason. And in your life in general. So for me to learn that lesson, it's valuable. And for me, like I said, it's biggest thing. It's young and dumb, and the past is past. Like we passed that. We trying to learn from our mistakes. And that's what we're doing.
Now, speaking of kind of like the idea of the past helping for the future, you had the good fortune of competing in LFA 5 times before you even made the jump to the UFC. In a lot of ways, like LFA has kind of become like the MMA version of like a big conference in Division I college sports. It's one of the best places to groom your skills before you make that jump to the big time. So as you enter Fight 4 in the UFC, how has your experience been at this level? Are the fights getting tougher, but you're getting that comfort level, kind of like you mentioned in the cage now after with this experience under this big spotlight? And how was fighting in LFA helpful in preparing you for this stage at such a young age?
Oh yeah, LFA definitely was like a big stepping stone for me. You know, I was like have 5 fights and like kind of really taking care of me, and it was like great fights. You know, it was not like no easy fights. I feel like that would help me
Yeah.
experience wise as well. So for me to go in there and do those 5 fights and really go into the UFC, it's like just like okay, it's the same thing. You know, it's like yeah, the matchup gets tougher, but it's the same job. You know, you got to do the same thing. You know, just go out there and have fun and really try to get in there, and especially after the 3 fights and all the experience cage time I had. So it's I feel very happy about that.
Two of your 3 fights for the UFC have been during the pandemic, so you're not new to the protocols and all this kind of testing stuff. But however, this will be your first time going to Fight Island, being from such a high level camp like Factory X. I'm sure you have resources in terms of getting advice on how to best go about this. And we even talked about it a little bit before we started interview, what you're doing, how you're going about your day time wise. Like, talk to me about, so people know what you're doing in terms of like adjusting time, or not really adjusting, but keeping the same time schedule from the US over there. Did you get any advice from coaches or people that are ready for the Fight Island? Like, you should do this, you should eat here, you should have, like any advanced stuff, because this is a unique experience.
Oh yeah, my as soon as I landed, my coach told me that you should go to sleep right away because it was like 2 p.m. and stuff like that. So it was crazy, you know. So like my coach been here for a month, so he knows the in and out. So I just follow directions and pretty much it, you know, and trust them. And you can see the 2 performances my teammates had. I will listen to that.
Have you? I've heard a big and popular things about the racetrack and stuff like that. Have you been to the racetrack yet?
No, I think they have it closed. I think it's like out of zone or something like that. I know I'm bummed up about that.
Are there any other interesting? I heard about the racetrack, but what else? I've seen people on Instagram. They're going into like a beach and all this. Like, what else can you do there other than train? Is it just the train and then go to the beach and that's it?
Oh, I went with my boy Brandon jet skiing in the beach and stuff like that. So that was pretty fun, you know, and kind of have a little fun and clear the mind for that half a day. You know, it was pretty awesome.
So talk to me about this short notice change of opponent. You going from facing an 8-3 UFC veteran, 3 fight veteran in Sung Woo Choi, to having about 2 weeks or so notice to prepare for UFC newbie in Ilia. Did the opponent at all get tougher with this change, despite him being new to the UFC? Is he a tougher challenger in a way, or maybe not so?
Oh, it definitely gets it's the name of the game, you know, especially in 2020. You know, you might not have the same opponent as always, you know. So for me, it really didn't matter. You know, I was just like, I'm just want to be here and really just make a statement for myself than anything. I really don't care about who's the opponent and who they bring. So I'm just glad, like you said, to even have a fight. So they found out an opponent and they brought him in, and I'm happy about that.
I even saw today on the UFC website, they had like a story where you were the main picture and the main feature about 3 talents that are likely to break out at this upcoming event. What is that like to be on the UFC's page, giant picture of you, UFC saying this guy's going to break out, you need to watch him? Like, how do you not get kind of too overconfident?
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's awesome. Yeah, man. I just keep doing what I'm doing, man. Good things will come in, man, and things will change.
How familiar were you with Ilya when the fight was offered to you, the short notice replacement? He's fought for Cage Warriors, he's fought for Brave CF, which is starting to really get some name recognition now. So there's a good amount of well-produced tape you can watch him. Have you watched his fights and noticed any tendencies, or do you leave like the tape watching up to some of your coaches and stuff like that instead?
Oh, I always watch the last fight of my opponent, and the rest is all to my coaches. You know, my coaches are the genius brains behind this behind the behind the scenes. You know, so I just go in there and listen and follow the directions and go from there.
I know I have no doubt in these early stages of a UFC run, you're just taking whoever the promotion offers. You want to be a good employee, make your name and stuff like that. But do you feel with a fourth straight win inside the UFC, which means so much, you have established yourself enough to maybe ask for a certain name, or at the very least, can I get like a ranked top 15 dude or something like that? Is that the hope? You're like, no, I'm just going to leave it up to them.
I don't know, man. I leave it up to my team. I have one of the best management team in the world. So for me, it's like just come in there, and wait for a call from my manager, and he knows what he's doing. So for me, I just go in there and just follow his direction. Yeah, I ain't gotta worry about that.
There's no desire. Like, look, I won 4 in a row. You're talking about breakout star. I want a top 15. It's not that desire that you want. I want ranked guys now if I win.
Oh, definitely. It always goes back in my head. I was like, especially to see my teammates, going on the rankings and kind of killing it and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, definitely. I wanna be there and go from there.